Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachariyam. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachariyam. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Gopinath, Radha Gopinath Radhe. Jai Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jai Shri Gopal, Shri Gopal, Shri Gopal, Jai Shri Gopal. Jayo Narsimhadev, Jayo Narsimhadev, Narsimhadev, Jayo Narsimhadev. Jaya Prahlada Maharaj, Prahlada Maharaj, Prahlada Maharaj, Prahlada Maharaj. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Srila Prabhupada. Jai 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 Gurudev 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 Jai Gurudev. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagwan Narsimhadev ki jai. Timbratapradeshi ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. It's the most auspicious appearance day of Lord Narsimhadev. We will begin by reciting the beautiful prayers of Prahlada Maharaj. Who can know Lord Narsimhadev better than Prahlada Maharaj? So we'll begin with one of the verses. The first verse, after Lord Narsimhadev appears, Prahlada Maharaj is offering this beautiful shloka. 7th canto, 9th chapter, text number 8. Shri Prahlada Uvacha Brahma Daya Suragana Munayotha Siddha Satvekatana Gatayo Vachasa Pravahe Naraditum Purugunairaduna Pipipru Kim Toshtum Arhati Samehari Rugrajate Shri Prahlad Uvacha Brahma Daya Suragana Munayotha Siddha Satvekatana Gatayo Vachasam Pravahe Naraditum Purugunairaduna Pipipru Kim Toshtum Arhati Samehari Rugrajate Shri Prahlad Uvacha Brahma Daya Suragana Munayotha Siddha Satvekatana Gatayo Vachasam Pravahe Naraditum Purugunairaduna Pipipru Kim Toshtum Arhati Samehari Rugrajate Mataji's. Shri Prahlad Uvacha. Prahlad Maharaj prayed. Brahmadayah, headed by Lord Brahma. Suragana, the inhabitants of the upper planetary systems. Munayaha, the great saintly persons. Atha, as well, like the four Kumaras and others. Siddhaha, who have attained perfection or full knowledge. Sattva, to spiritual existence. Ekatanagatayaha, who have taken without diversion to any material activities. Vachasam, of descriptions or words. Pravahai, by streams. Na, not. Aradhitum, to satisfy. Purugunai, although fully qualified. Adhuna, until now. Api, even. Pipru, were able. Kim, whether. Toshtum, to become pleased. Arhati, is able. Sa, he, the Lord. Me, my. Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ugrajate, who am born in an Asuric family. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada. Prahlad Maharaj prayed, how is it possible for me, who have been born in a family of Asuras, to offer suitable prayers to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Even until now, all the demigods headed by Lord Brahma and all the saintly persons could not satisfy the Lord by streams of excellent words. Although such persons were very qualified, being in the mode of goodness. Then what is to be said of me? I am not at all qualified. Purport. A Vaishnava who is fully qualified to serve the Lord still thinks himself extremely low while offering prayers to the Lord. For example, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, says, Jagai madhai haite muise papishta, purishe rakita haite muise lagishta. Thus he considers himself unqualified, lower than the worm in the stool, and more sinful than Jagai and Madhai. A pure Vaishnava actually thinks of himself in this way. Similarly, although Prahlad Maharaj was a pure, exalted Vaishnava, he thought himself most unqualified to offer prayers to the Supreme Lord. Mahajana yena gata sapantha. Every pure Vaishnava should think like this. One should not be falsely proud of his Vaishnava qualification. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore instructed us, Trinadapi sunichena taroriva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sada hari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. The last line is very deep. Unless one is meek and humble, to make progress in spiritual life is very difficult. I repeat, unless one is meek and humble, to make progress in spiritual life is very difficult. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamshcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare, little loud. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. My respectful obeisances to all the devotees. Seek the blessings of Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada and all the devotees to speak something on this most holy day. Lord Narsimhadev's avatar is very special. Rupa Goswami explains in Laghu Bhagavatamrita that among all the lila avatars of the Lord, two are very special. One is Lord Ramchandra, especially for his beauty, and Lord Narsimhadev for his strength. Actually, Srila Prabhupada describes in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Lord Narsimhadev appeared in Multan, which is now in Pakistan. I'm very familiar with that place because my mother and father, they came from that place. But then traditionally it is known in South India that Lord Narsimhadev appeared in Ahobilam. So once one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, where did Lord Narsimhadev appear? You are saying in the purport in Chaitanya Charitamrita he appeared in Multan, but actually traditionally people in South India, they say he appeared in Ahobilam, which is in Andhra Pradesh. So Prabhupada smiled and said, Ito Narsingho Parato Narsingho. Lord Narsimhadev can appear from anywhere. Seeking blessings, we are very fortunate. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj is back in Mumbai and in Radha Gopinath temple. Today evening he'll be showering nectar. Hopefully 33 million demigods will come. So such a rare occasion actually. To hear from Maharaja. I was fortunate to be in GV yesterday. Such beautiful glorification by so many great Vaishnavas, the occasion of Maharaja's 40th anniversary of sannyas. And I'm sure we are all very eager to hear from him. I'll just, with his blessings and blessings of assembled devotees, speak something. In one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada mentions that Lord Narsimhadev creates auspiciousness. He is known as Vignaharta, removal of all obstacles. Bhakti Vinod Thakur explains in one of his books that we should pray to Lord Narsimhadev to remove all the obstacles on the path of bhakti. Because we are all trying to walk the path of bhakti, although it is very simple, but yet because of the anarthas, there are many, many difficulties. So today is a very special day to pray to Lord Narsimhadev to remove all obstacles, especially on the path of chanting the holy name, developing pure love for Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada is explained in another place that whenever there is any fear, a devotee takes shelter of Lord Narsimhadev. And what is the greatest fear for a devotee? It is not loss of some valuables or death or loss of some family members. The greatest fear is to forget Krishna, even for a moment. Another fear is that we may offend a Vaishnava. So we should pray to Lord Narsimhadev that I may never offend any Vaishnava. I may remember Lord Radha Gopinath constantly and pray for his mercy. I'm sure today evening Maharaj will be very beautifully describing the appearance of Lord Narsimha Lila. So I chose to take this section that after Lord Narsimhadev has appeared from the pillar, that place is still there in Ahobilam. Once in a yatra, I think, I believe in the last part of 1999, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj took us on yatra to Ahobilam. And that last part is very difficult, a little risky also. His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj had told His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj that it's very difficult, so maybe not all devotees may be able to go. That time the big yatra was 600 devotees. But by the blessings of Prabhupada and blessings of Maharaj, 600 devotees, including 60 and 70 years old men and women, climbed and came back safely. So that describe that. Actually, when Lord Narsimhadev appeared, the demigods were astounded. They cried out, "Aho Balam, Aho Balam." That is the power of Lord Narsimhadev. And that's how the name Ahobilam appeared. And one Narsimha Chaturdashi, I was in Ahobilam, and with the help of some devotees, we recited the entire 7th canto. And very purifying experience. I'm sure many of you have been there. Today later I'll discuss Lord Chaitanya's visit to Ahobilam also. So after Lord Narsimhadev appeared, and he for some time was playing with Hiranyakashipu, letting him go, and then as per the promise of Lord Brahma, when it was evening time, dusk time, neither day nor night, not by any weapons, neither men nor human, Lord Narsimhadev took him on his lap and killed him. It's like a transcendental operation, Lord Narsimhadev, free operation. It's actually very, Lord Narsimhadev is killing Hiranyakashipu, embracing Prahlada, but both are perfect. As an expert doctor knows what medicine to give to each patient. So now we are here discussing this part after Lord Narsimhadev has killed Hiranyakashipu. It's interesting that described in the Navadip Dham Mahatmya that after killing Hiranyakashipu, Lord Narsimhadev went to Mayapur, Narsingapalli, and there is where he washed his hands. Hare Krishna, there's a place called Narsingapalli. I was thinking it's a long distance, Imagine you go to wash your hands 1,000 kilometers away. But then I thought, because it's described in the Bhagavatam, that Lord Narsimhadev's hair were touching the clouds. So he's so tall. So for him, from here to Mayapur is like one step. So there's one place, Narsingapalli. So after this, everybody was trying to offer beautiful prayers. In the previous chapter, including Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the Rishis, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas. But still, Lord Narsimhadev was not pacified. And then we come to today's chapter. We are reading from the 8th verse, but I'll just briefly summarize the first few verses to bring on continuity. Prabhupada, the first verse, Narada Muni is explaining that all the demigods, Prabhupada uses the word, they did not dare to come forward, who were extremely angry. In the purport, Prabhupada explains how anger is also a transcendental quality for the Lord, or even for his devotee. He is quoting Narottam Das Thakur. Krodha bhakta dveshi jana. That a devotee will become angry, a Supreme Lord becomes angry when he sees a person who has offended a Vaishnava. In the previous chapter, Prabhupada explains that Lord Narsimhadev appeared specially because of to protect his devotee Prahlada and to kill Hiranyakashipu. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrita. So kama, krodha, lobha, mada, matsarya, all have their proper use. Lobha for Krishna Katha, for sadhu sangha. Greed. I was listening to one lecture of Prabhupada just 3 days back, and there Prabhupada was explaining how this lobha or lolium is a price to attain Krishna consciousness. One should be greedy to attain Krishna's mercy. And Prabhupada describes in that connection the story of one thief who came to hear Bhagavatam. Some great devotee like Gauranga Prabhu was speaking Bhagavatam, and one thief came, and everybody was listening. Some are listening out of formality, some are waiting for the prasadam. But this thief was listening attentively because he was hearing the description of the beauty of Krishna. And after everybody left, he found out who this beautiful boy is, and he heard the name Krishna and the place Vrindavan, and he went to Vrindavan. And Prabhupada describes that actually he saw Krishna, and he touched Krishna's transcendental body and asked for the jewels. And Krishna said, no, my mother will be angry. And then eventually he became purified. And there, you will be surprised that Prabhupada uses the word. He says, it doesn't matter whether you are a thief or a murderer or a rogue. It doesn't matter. Just become greedy for Krishna. So I may be a so-called brahmachari practicing for 30 years and knowing some knowledge of Shastra. But I was thinking to myself, am I really developing that greed, that lolium, which Prahlada Maharaj had? In the previous chapter, we see how Prahlada Maharaj would exhibit symptoms of ecstasy in his this description. So that lolium, that greed, that is a price for attaining Krishna. But that greed is not attained even by janma koti na labhyate. Even if you perform pious activities for many, many millions of births, you will not attain. But Prabhupada explained in that lecture you get by sadhu sangha. So now Maharaj is here for just about a week more, and I'm hoping, and I've heard that he may be in lecture today and also next Sunday. So every moment when a great sadhu is there, we should be so greedy. We should be so greedy to hear every word. Because through the mouth of the great souls, Supreme Lord manifests. The prayers of Prahlada Maharaj are so important because who can be more intimate and who can understand more the mood of Lord Narsimhadev than Prahlada Maharaj? And who can explain better than Srila Prabhupada? And then the next part of the purport, Prabhupada says that Lord Narsimhadev was so angry that even Lakshmi Devi, Lakshmi is a constant companion, Lakshmi Narsimha, even she could not pacify. So here, I was thinking in my mind that how is it that Brahma and Shiva could not satisfy, or even Lakshmi Devi could not satisfy? Obviously, Lord Shiva is Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. But Lord wanted to show this special position of Prahlada Maharaj, one of the 12 Mahajans, who is very dear to Lord. In one lecture, Srila Prabhupada was explaining the name of the 12 Mahajans, Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu. That is Lord Brahma, Shiva, 4 Kumaras, Janak Maharaj, Bali Maharaj. And then one devotee raised his hand and said, Prabhupada, you are 13th. And Prabhupada looked at him and said, you are 14th. So, just by following a Vaishnava, become Vaishnava. So, now we come to the next verse. When Lakshmi Devi was asked to go, Prabhupada writes that she was fearful. She could not go. Even she had never seen the mood of the Lord like this. Now what I wanted to highlight is how much the Lord is angry when we offend a Vaishnava. And how much the Lord is pleased when we glorify a Vaishnava. Yesterday, one of the great speakers was speaking, Shivatsa Goswami, that how the Lord is more pleased when we serve His devotee, than we serve Him directly. Later on in today's discussion, I will take that verse where Prahlada Maharaj says that I was fallen in a well in ignorance and my Gurudev Narad Muni saved me. So I want to serve him. In that purport, Prabhupada explains the highest ambition, to serve a devotee. And the greatest sin is not even murder. The greatest sin is to offend Vaishnavas. Because if you offend Vaishnava, there is no hope. Hari sthane aparade tare hari naam, toma sthane aparade nahi paritra. So, Prabhupada is quoting here a beautiful verse by Madhvacharya also, that the form of Lord Narsimhadev is unseen, wonderful, but for a devotee like Prahlada Maharaj, it is not extraordinary. When Lord Chaitanya was traveling to South India, he came to the temple of Jiyada Narsimha. And there is a beautiful description in the purport, Sridhar Swami's verse, that just like a lioness is very cruel, ferocious to ordinary beings, but she is very kind to her cubs. Similarly, Lord Narsimhadev's form is very fearful for a non-devotee, but for a devotee, his love is more than millions of mothers' love put together. Then finally, Lord Brahma requested Prahlada Maharaj, you go forward and please the Lord. And Prahlada Maharaj accepted the words. So here is another principle, to act as per authority. Although Prahlada Maharaj is a liberated soul, he is directly received knowledge from Narada Muni in the womb. Prahlada Maharaj attended his first Bhagavatam class when he was minus few months old. You know the story of how Kayadu, the wife of Hiranyakashipu, she was alone and the demigods, they arrested her and they did not want to kill her, but they wanted to kill the child. Because Hiranyakashipu had gone on tapasya. So they were thinking that Hiranyakashipu is such a great demon, so his son will obviously be a later version, like I-14, I-15. So they were thinking that we should kill him. But then Narad Muni appeared and he told that you can't kill him, he's a Mahabhagavat. The devotees did parikrama and left. And in fact, in near Pandharpur, some of you may have been there, it's the actual place. Has anyone seen that place? Neera Narsimha Temple. It's actually the place where, according to the local devotees, the place where Narad Muni instructed Kayadu and also thereby Prahlada Maharaj. So Prahlada Maharaj is already liberated. In one sense, Narsimhadev is eternal devotee. There is no need of he can offer prayers directly, but still he's waiting till Lord Brahma gives blessings. So this blessings is very important. Like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Lord, he did not preach until he got mercy of Ishwarapuri. Lord Nityananda traveled all over Bharatvarsh. He did not preach until he met Lord Chaitanya and received the instruction. So this Guru Mukha Padma Vakya, accepting the order of the spiritual master as one's life and soul. And then it's described that when Lord Narsimhadev saw Prahlada Maharaj, he became ecstatic. The change of mood from anger to ecstasy by seeing his dear devotee. So, just like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, Prabhupada in a glorification Bhakti Thakur says, absolute ascension thou hast proved, impersonal calamity thou hast removed. It's not that Lord is just some static person. There are emotions. Lord becomes angry when his devotee is offended. He becomes very happy, like a mother becomes very happy to see her child. So Lord Narsimha is very happy and he placed his lotus hand on the head of Prahlad Maharaj, which creates fearlessness. So here is the purport which I was referring to in the beginning of my talk, that Prabhupada writes that in this material world there is ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithun. There is fear everywhere. But when Lord Narsimhadev appears, all the devotees become fearless. And the devotees' hope of becoming fearless is to chant the holy name of Lord Narsimha. Jai Narsimha, Shri Narsimha, Jai Jai Shri Narsimha. Prahladesha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma. And then Prabhupada ends the purport by saying, Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimha. Wherever we go, we must think of Lord Narsimhadev. So just by the touch of the beautiful lotus hand of Lord Narsimhadev, Prahlad was completely freed of all material contaminations and desires. Of course, sometimes difficult to understand because Prahlad Maharaj is already a pure devotee. But the point is, whether somebody is pure or impure, if one is in contact with the Supreme Lord, he becomes completely pure. Just by remembering the Lord, Om Pavitro Pavitro Va Sarvan Vasta. Just by touching the Lord. And in another place, Prabhupada explains that the same result which Prahlad Maharaj derived by being in touch with the Lord, the same result we can derive by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Because Nama Nami Abhinatvam. There's no difference between the name of Krishna and Krishna. In fact, all the avatars are in the holy name. Once one devotee was asked this question that who is your worshipable deity? Like different devotees have different worshipable deities. Like some worship Shalagram Shila, some worship Narsinga Shila. And this great devotee replied, my worshipable deity is the holy name. The holy name is the supreme deity. And Sanatana Goswami also in Brihad Bhagavatam describes how the holy name is his life and soul. So we can pray to Lord Narsimhadev to remove all the obstacles on the path of the holy name. So at once Prahlad Maharaj started exhibiting symptoms of love of God, and he was able to capture the lotus feet of the Lord in his heart. Now Prabhupada explains, he connects, actually in one beautiful verse quoted by Lochan Das Thakur, he explains that the birth of a devotee is not important. Prahlad Maharaj is born in an Asuric family. He is the son of Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad were to enter his name in a register in school, he would say Prahlad Hiranyakashipu, you know. So not a very beautiful title, you know. तुम्हारे बाप का नाम क्या औरंगजेब भी है ना. But this shows that birth is not important. It's the same verse Lochandasta explains how Hanumanji is born in a kapi, is a vanara. It's not very gracious looking generally. But Hanuman is the best of the devotees of Lord Ramchandra. Kubja is not so beautiful materially, but she surrendered to the Lord and she acquired the supreme beauty of devotional service. Sudama Vipra is by material standard not very rich, but he had the wealth of pure bhakti. Shridhar Khola Vecha is very poor, banana leaf seller. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming to bargain with him for 2-3 hours to save few paisas. Even logistically, it's not worth the time for Lakshmipati to come and bargain, you know. But Lord is coming to his place and is drinking the water from his pot, because the real wealth is bhakti. You know, whether materially qualified or unqualified, this will come in the next verse. The Lord is not pleased by any qualification. Sometimes, you know, we become either proud or depressed. If we have some good quality, we are proud. If we don't have, we become depressed. But either way, it's due to ignorance, because all qualities are due to Krishna. Like yesterday, this great devotee was glorifying His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj in a very beautiful and surprising way. And how did Maharaj react? He said, all what you said, if it is good, it is for my Guru Maharaj, and forget. Generally, I'm just being very honest. If somebody finds even one good quality, I don't have any, and somebody thanks me, I feel so happy. At least now the sun is uncovered, you know. How long can the sun remain uncovered, you know? We all, at least Baddha Jivas, is one of the material desires pratishtha. And it's not that just somebody can pretend for some time. But I've observed in Prabhupada's disciples like His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj and other great devotees, they really feel very awkward and very ashamed when they receive glorification. How one can pretend for some time, like somebody says, yes, it's all the mercy of my Guru. But actually feel like that is a sign of a pure devotee. So it's material qualifications are actually good offerings to the Lord. But if that makes one proud, better to be illiterate, fool, and be humble. And second extreme is we become very depressed. I'm not a good speaker. I cannot do good dressing. I cannot do anything good. But Krishna has place for everybody. They find some devotees in the kingdom in Dwaraka, they are just waiting for the Lord. In the Bible, there is a saying, he who simply waits, he is also serving the Lord. Just by being ready to do service, Krishna is pleased. Because actually Krishna is the doer of everything. The entire Mahabharata is fought by Krishna. He is the producer, director and actor, everything. So but we have to just play our roles. And then second part, Prabhupada actually now is giving another angle in the purport. Prabhupada says that actually because Prahlada Maharaj, although he was born in demoniac family, demoniac blood was flowing within his body, he was cleansed of the material bodily contamination. So that is what is observed, that because of his birth, there is some contamination. In other words, when one is in touch with the Supreme Lord, it does not matter what the background is. Like sometimes when Prabhupada was giving Brahman Diksha and Seva to many of the devotees born in the Western families, there was a lot of protest from the so-called Smarta Brahmins. So Prabhupada was quoting these verses that it doesn't matter what one's birth is. If one is actually connected with the Supreme Lord, Aho Batsya Pachato Gari, and Haridas Thakur was born in a very low family, lower than Shudra. But Lord Chaitanya is dancing with his after he has left the body. Generally one does not like to touch a dead body. But Supreme Pure is saying to Har Sanatan Goswami, I am touching you for my purification. And before we come to this verse today, there's one more verse, and said Prahlada Maharaj fixed his mind with complete trance, with fixed mind. So I was thinking of this during Japa today morning, that how one should be very attentive, fully fixed. Just thinking that Supreme Lord has appeared. It's a very nice example that like when we go to darshan, had a darshan of Balaji in Tirupati, sometimes you have to wait for a couple of hours if we have VIP darshan, sometimes 4 or 5 hours, sometimes half a day. And the darshan is for how long? Maybe half a minute, less than half a minute, and Jargandi, po, you know. Bunny. That is just for 15 seconds. But when we are chanting Hare Krishna, Radha Gopinath is dancing on our tongue, Jagannath ji is dancing, Gopinath ji is there, all the avatars are there, and we are telling the Lord, po, jaldi karo, you know. I have to do other seva. Before 7:30 it should get over. I'll be late for breakfast, you know. I love you in the form of prasadam more than the whole. Kali kale prasad rupe. So this point of being complete attention. Yesterday Kripa Sindhu Prabhu is here, I think. Kripa Sindhu Prabhu is here somewhere. He was. Kripa Sindhu, yeah, he was talking to me after the Maharaj's lecture that how he's concentrating on the holy name. And I derived great inspiration. He said, I spend one day a month just on the holy name. You know. So this is very necessary. Even no matter how senior you are, we have to make a conscious effort to go deep into the holy name. Because Prabhupada writes in one purport that I have kept 16 rounds for beginners. But as one advances in age and in bhakti, one should go deep, try to increase in quality and quantity. I heard one very beautiful point from a devotee, that just like if you see the ocean just on the surface, you will see only some water and some plants. But if you dive deep, you can get precious jewels. So the holy name also, if you're just chanting superficially, you get some benefit. you may get liberation, or you may get some peace of mind. These are material byproducts. But if one goes deep into the holy name, then one can get prema bhakti, which is the goal of life. Coming to today's verse, Brahmadaya Suragana Munayatho Siddha Satvaikatana Gatayo Vachasa Pravahe Naraditum Puradgunen Kim Tushtitum Agraja. How is it possible for me to be born in a family of Masuras to offer prayers to you? That is the first thing you will observe. Every great devotee, he will glorify the Lord and he will explain his own shortcomings. And Prabhupada is quoting in the purport Kaviraj Goswami, Jagai Madai Haite Mui Se Papishti. It is beyond human reasoning how somebody can think like this. That I am more sinful than Jagai Madai. Jagai Madai would practically do every sinful activity every day. They would regularly break regulative principles. And eating meat or murdering, sometimes they would set house to fire. I mean, today, if they were here, their name would be in Guinness Book of World Record, for their sinful activities. And yet, how can somebody think like this, that I am lower than Jagai Madai? It is just it is transcendental. Vaishnava humility is beyond rational thinking. It is a gift of God. The gift of God. Many, many years back, in the early 90s, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj gave one lecture where he explained that actually humility we cannot acquire on our own. It is a gift which comes by serving great souls. Like we say every day, not every day, but whenever we have special days, Ekaki Amara Nahi Payabal. I have no strength. Please give me strength to chant the holy name. A devotee feels himself unqualified. One Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur wrote one very nice letter. In one of the letters he writes, Lord Chaitanya is specially merciful to those who think themselves incapable. Those who are very humble. Dinera adhik daya kare Bhagavan pandita kulina bada abhiman. Lord Chaitanya is especially merciful to those who are dina. Gaur Govind Maharaja was explaining that how one devotee is saying that when I hear the name of the Lord as Bhakta Vatsal, I don't feel so happy. I feel depressed because I am not Bhakta. I'm nowhere near being a devotee. But when I hear that Lord is Dina Vatsal, Patita Pavan, Lord shows mercy to those who are degraded, fallen, then I get great hope. So all the way up to Mahabhagavat, like Narottam Das Thakur, Prahlada Maharaj, down to the lowest, everybody who is a sincere devotee should cultivate this feeling. In fact, in the purport, Prabhupada says, every pure Vaishnava should think like this. One should not be falsely proud of his Vaishnava qualification. Sometimes you become proud of being humble. I'm very humble. That is not humility. So it is just, we should pray every day. Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koro Edase Trinapeka Tihena. To become very humble, like Prahlada Maharaj is showing by his example. It would be natural. Like, can you imagine if there are, like, in our congregation we have thousands of devotees, and suppose for some particular seva, it is found that many devotees try to do this seva and they are unsuccessful. And finally you are called up by the authorities and said, you do the service. How would you feel? You would just beaming smile, Hare Krishna. Why did you waste time? You should have called me in the beginning. But how Prahlada is feeling, This is the essence of Vaishnava behavior. Trinadapi Sunichena. And Prabhupada is quoting this verse. It is of paramount importance. Because you see the contrast between Hiranyakashipu and Prahlada. Hiranyakashipu was thinking, I am the greatest. I am the best. I am the most powerful. And Prahlada is diametrically opposite. I am the lowest. I am not at all qualified. Hiranyakashipu was intolerant. He could not even tolerate that anybody can be near him in glory or power. And Prahlada Maharaj is just the opposite. He was so tolerant. He was tortured by his own father. He was given poison. He was thrown in a pit of snakes. In Sihachalam, that's a place near Vishakhapatnam. He was thrown down to the ocean. And yet after Lord Narsimhadev appeared and killed his father, Prahlad Maharaj was praying to Lord, please deliver my father. You know, how would one pray for a person who tried to kill him? Even if it's one family members, you would actually file some attempted murder case, But Prahlad Maharaj was so. In fact, in Melkote, there's a place that where Prahlad Maharaj, after his father was killed, and Prahlad Maharaj went and performed tapasya, and Lord Narsimhadev appeared in the form of the deity of Yoga Narsimha, the deity in Melkote. So, Prahlad Maharaj's qualifications are objects of meditation on 2 days. Because we can, actually, Lord Narsimhadev is most pleased when we glorify him, but is even more pleased when we glorify his devotee. If we glorify the father or the mother, they are happy. But if we glorify their son, they feel even more happy. So here we see the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, and Prabhupada is glorifying him. And says, although he is the most qualified, he thinks himself unqualified. Uttam hoy adham kori mane. Prabhupada writes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that a great devotee, he always thinks himself very low. Very low. Bhakti Vinod Thakur says in a beautiful song, Amara Jivana Sada Kamarat. Gopinath Mama Nivedana Suna Vishay Durjana Sada Kamarat. The supreme qualification is to think oneself unqualified. In fact, Kaviraj Goswami in another purport explains that the words of the Guru are making me speak. I am not the speaker. It is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who is speaking. And Prabhupada, following in the mood of Prahlad Maharaj, when he came, Jaladuta, in the beautiful prayers, he writes that Bhakti nahi, Veda nahi, Name khub daro. I have no bhakti, I have no knowledge, I have faith in the holy name. Now you can Bhakti Vedanta Naam Eve Sartak kar. I am a puppet in your hand, make me dance, make me dance, make me dance. Supreme humility is to just become a puppet in the hands of Supreme Lord, or even better, in the hands of great devotees. To be servant of the servant of the servant. That is the essence of all philosophy. In King Pratap Rudra, he was denied audience with the Lord. Lord, he tried so many times. But yesterday His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj beautifully explained in his talk that when King Pratap Rudra, during the Rath Yatra, he took up the broom with a golden handle to sweep, then Lord Chaitanya changed his mind. And it was not like that he knew that it was on Star TV, that everybody should watch. Sometimes ministers, they just hold the broom, they don't even sweep, Then it's just a gesture, cutting ribbons, It's not like that. He was actually sweeping the floor. Yesterday's talk, Maharaj spoke about Shyamananda Goswami's life. I'm repeating because many of you are not here. I'm sure you can hear it you must have heard on YouTube. Shyamananda Prabhu, he was earlier Dukhi Krishna, and he was given this service of sweeping. And Maharaj was explaining that it was not that, there was not hardly at that time, there was not much dust also because it was not a crowded place that time. But he was just sweeping for the Lord's pleasure. A devotee just wants to serve. Later we'll see, Prahlad Maharaj, he was offered any benediction. And he said, I just want to be your servant. I just want to serve you. You are my master, I am your servant. If at all you want to give me something, please bless me that in the core of my heart, there be no material desires. Basically, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaya, mama janmani janmani ishwari bhavatad bhakti. Find the common thread from Satya Yuga to Kali Yuga. All the devotees exhibiting the same divine qualities. So King Pratap Rudra was sweeping. And then during the Rath Yatra, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not accidentally, but apparently accidentally touched him. And he said, oh, chi, dirty. I have touched a person who is materialistic person. Now, nothing happens by chance, not even an atom moves. What to speak of Lord Chaitanya moving himself? How can the Supreme Controller be controlled? But Lord Chaitanya is saying that I touched, I'm become impure. How would you feel? There's a Rath Yatra and the great leader touches you and says, "Oh, abominable." Better he does not touch, But King Pratap Rudra has accepted that mercy. And later on we see that Lord Chaitanya allowed him to, Sarvam Bhattacharya. One great quality of King Pratap Rudra was that he always heard from Sarvam Bhattacharya. Sarvam Bhattacharya told him, Lord Chaitanya is Supreme Lord. So he accepted, yes, he is the Supreme Lord. He told him, now you go and wear common dress and perform this seva. So you are doing this seva of offering Gopi Geet. And Lord Chaitanya asked him, who are you? Achambito ailo, mora piyailo, Krishna lila amrit. Suddenly from nowhere you have come and made me drink the nectar of Krishna Katha. Who are you? The king could have said, I am the king of Odisha. You can Google and check. Don't you know my position? But he replied, very beautiful. This verse, I request everybody, please write it in the core of your heart. Please repeat after me. Raja kahe, ami tomar, daser anudas. Bhrityera bhritya kora, ei mora ash. Raja kahe, ami tomar, daser anudas. Bhrityera bhritya kora, ei mora ash. The king said that I am the servant of your servant. And it's my ambition to remain the servant of the servant. Same thing Prahlada Maharaj is saying, same thing King Pratap Rudra, same thing Shyamananda, and same thing Prabhupada and all the disciples are speaking. The mood of servant of the servant of the servant. It's not that Vaishnavism changes, that, oh, this was for Satyuga, now times have changed. The mood is same. I'm servant of the servant. Gopir, Bhartur, Pada Kamalayor, Das, Dasanudas. So, King Pratap Rudra received that mercy. And the Lord exhibited his opulence and told him to keep it secret. So, and the last line is very important. Unless one is meek and humble, to make progress in spiritual life is very difficult. Bible also says, only the humble and meek shall inherit the kingdom of God. You may have millions of faults. You may have lusty desires, anger, greed. We are all having this. We have developed friendship with our 6 enemies. But if one is at least humble to admit before the Lord, before his devotees, that I am actually degraded, I am patit. And Prabhupada actually says like that in Kali Yuga, everybody is more or less jagai madhai. Somebody may be 80%, somebody 90%, but we all have those bad qualities. But if we just like Govind Maharaj says that Lord Chaitanya is patita pavan, but not kapati pavan. He will deliver anybody who just admits his weakness. But if one is kapati, means he is duplicitous, is like trying to hide or act in a way which is not proper, then one does not receive the mercy. So mercy is what we are seeking today. Lord Narsimhadev's mercy, Prahlada Maharaj's mercy. I will discuss little bit about Lord Chaitanya's pastimes which are connected with Narsimhadev, and then I'll come back to this verse. Before I go to that, there's another important verse. Like those of you get time during the day, please read this chapter with great attention, because these prayers of Prahlada Maharaj open the door to the knowledge of Lord Narsimhadev's glories. In the verse number 38, Prahlada Maharaj is glorifying Narsimhadev by saying, Itham nritriyaga rishideva jahasitaira lokan vibhayasi hansi jagat pratipan dharmam mahapurushapashi yuganuvrittam channo kalo yadabhavastrigayuto swatvam. Translation. In this way, my Lord, you appear in various incarnations, a human being, an animal, saint, demigod, rishi, tortoise, fish. Thus you maintain the entire creation and kill the demons. according to the age, you protect the principles. However, in Kali Yuga, you do not assert yourself as the Supreme Lord. Therefore, you are known as Tri Yuga, the Lord who appears in 3 yugas. So this is a direct reference to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sometimes, people they say that in Bhagavatam there is no reference to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is said here that in Kali Yuga, Kalau Kshanna Avatar, a hidden incarnation. The Jai Gaura, Sei Krishna, Sei Jagannath, Sei Narsimha. The same personality, appearing in different moods according to his sweet desire. I would like to read Prabhupada's purport on how Lord Narsimhadev and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As the Lord appeared just to maintain Lord Brahma from the attack of Madhu and Kaitaba, he also appeared to protect the great devotee Prahlada Maharaja. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya appeared in order to protect the fallen souls of Kali Yuga. There are 4 yugas: Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga. In all the yugas but Kali Yuga, the Lord appears as different incarnation and he asserts himself. Like Krishna says, Aham Adir Hi Devanam, Maharishim Cha Sarvasham, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. The Lord declares himself to the Supreme Lord. But although Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord, he never asserted himself as such. On the contrary, if somebody addressed Lord Chaitanya that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as good as Krishna, he would block his ears with his hands. He would deny his identity with Krishna because he was playing the part of a devotee. Lord Chaitanya knew that in Kali Yuga there will be many bogus incarnations pretending to be God, and therefore he avoided asserting himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted in Bhagavatam, in the 11th canto, Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishna Sango Pangashtra Parshadam Yagya Sankirtana Praye Yajanti Hi Sumedasha. All of you know this verse where it is described that Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, but Tvisha Krishna. His complexion is not blackish, but he is in a golden complexion. And Sango Pangashtra Parshadam is surrounded with Lord Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhar, and he performs this Yagya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It's just the beginning of fasting and the volume has gone down. Let us chant it loudly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. 9 hours to go. 7:05 is the fast breaking time, something like that. Of course, 4:30 to 6:30 there will not be any problem because Maharaja will be drowning us in the Krishna Katha. So we will forget hunger, thirst, at least sleep. When great souls speak Krishna Katha, Krishna personally manifests. Because one may question in that case, if somebody like me who is impure, who has got so many faults, how can we hear? Definitely, it's better if somebody is pure. But then even if the person is not pure, if the words are being repeated, there is some purification. But if somebody like Maharaj or some Prabhupada disciples who are sincerely serving, if they speak, then the potency is 100 times more. So this is just like an appetizer to prepare for today's evening lecture. So, coming back to this Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishna Sango Pangashya Parsha, Lord Chaitanya is surrounded by Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhar and Srivas. Now, I would like to take a little break and come to Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. How Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited the mood of Narsimhadev in some of the leelas. It is said in the Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita that once Srivas Thakur was reciting the different names of Lord Vishnu, and the name of Lord Narsimhadev appeared. So Lord Chaitanya became completely ecstatic. Narsimha, Narsimha! And actually assumed the mood of Lord Narsimhadev. He took a club in his hand and started moving around the streets of Navadip, and apparently very angry. Can you imagine somebody going in the club, and not somebody ordinary, Lord Chaitanya himself the bhava and the mood of Lord Narsimhadev. It's like everybody was fearful. The devotees also were running hither and thither. And then Lord Chaitanya came to the house of Srivas. And suddenly Lord Chaitanya felt bad. He said, "Oh, Srivas, I have offended. I have offended the devotees. I have created fear in the heart of devotees." Srivas said, "There is no fear. Anybody who saw you, he became free from all fear. Your name is supreme and it creates fearlessness. Go Ranga. Go Ranga. Go Ranga." Lochandas Thakur describes, "Sab avatar sarashiromani kevala ananda kanda." That Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is inclusive of all the avatars. And you find, especially in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lila, that he exhibits practically all the avatars. Once Lord Chaitanya went to an astrologer and he asked him who I was in my previous life. Hare Krishna. If we go, we may get very embarrassing answers. Maybe I was a Gandharva or Apsara or a cockroach in a commode. It's good that we don't go. But Lord Chaitanya, when he went, this great astrologer, Sarvagya, he closed his eyes and he calculated. He had some kind of mantras he would chant. He would be in ecstasy. And then he saw the scene of a dark prison. And he saw Krishna appearing. And he saw Vasudeva carrying Krishna across the river. He was surprised. Then he kind of went back, like kind of reset button, Not reset, but our analogy is like that, modern. Then again he saw beautiful form, dark green complexion of Lord Ramchandra. Then again he again tried to chant his mantras again. This time he saw pralaya, water, deluge everywhere, in the beautiful form of Matsya avatar. Even Matsya avatar, Lord's all janma karma chame divyam. And then he saw Varahadev. Generally, Varaha or a Sukar is not considered very beautiful. Sukara. We don't say you are so beautiful, you are like a Sukara, It's an insult, common person. But when Lord Varahadev appears, he is so attractive. And then he saw the form of Lord Narsimhadev appearing to kill Hiranyakashipu and protect his devotee. So Lord Chaitanya showed this form. Of course, finally he could not figure out. So then he said, "Please come tomorrow, I will explain." Then another astrologer, he also tried to figure out. And he said, "You are the supreme cause of all causes." And Lord Chaitanya smiled and said, "In my previous life, I was a cowherd boy. And I was taking care of the cows. And because of that, now I'm born in a Brahmin family." Another instance of Lord showing his Narsingha form is to the Chand Kazi. You all know the story of how Kazi, who in Krishna Lila was Kansa. Kansa became Kazi and Jarasandha became Nawab Hussain Shah. Interesting, Kansa and Jarasandha were father-in-law and son-in-law. So the Chand Kazi, the story of how when Lord Chaitanya ordered the devotees to go everywhere and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Yes, flood Navadip city with the chanting of the holy name. And the devotees were doing kirtan, and Chand Kazi, he sent his men to stop the kirtan. So anybody who chants will be killed or he will be made into a Muslim. And he broke one mridanga. The devotees were afraid. And they came to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Lord Chaitanya said, "Today we will all go on procession." He told them to go back home and come in the evening with torches, mashal, putting cloth and lighting fire. Today death personified and time will appear before the Kazi. In the evening they went on procession was explained by Vrindavan Das Thakur that the whole sky was lit as if there were hundreds of suns. It was late in the evening when the sun has set. So they were just chanting slogans, kill the Qazi, Murdabad, Murdabad, Qazi, something like that, And first Qazi thought that there is some Durga Puja musical procession. Then he realized this is some other kind of music, He sent one of his servants to stop the kirtan. And the servants who came, they tried to stop the kirtan. They caught hold of the devotees and they got the mercy current. And they became devotees. And they started chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, within ecstasy. And they forgot. And actually just to hide themselves, because, Muslim you can identify the natural eye card, like kind of thing, hang. So they took their this dadi and put a cloth around. So then they didn't come back for a long time. Qazi sent other people to search for them. And the other batch, they could locate. They said, Arey, you are our men. What are you doing with the Hindus? And they caught hold of their hand and they got the parampara. And they started chanting, Hari, 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 Hari. From now till rest of eternity, we should chant Hari, Hari. There's no fear. Any fear comes, we remember Lord Narsimhadev. I remember in one devotee in Bangalore, one very senior devotee, he had come for some program, and one new devotee was driving him. He was driving very fast. So finally, this devotee told the driver, please drive slowly. You are making me remember Lord Narsimhadev too much. So the devotees, they were chanting slogans against Qazi, and the Qazi was so fearful, he just hid himself, he closed the doors for a long time. And then when the devotees were pacified, he opened the door and he welcomed Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Oh Nimai, do you know that your grandfather Nilambar Chakravarti, he happens to be my uncle. Your grandfather is my uncle, so I am your maternal uncle and you are my nephew. This was a new relationship. I don't know, maybe family connection. And Nimai smiled and said, oh, what is this? When the nephew is coming, the uncle is closing the doors. So he said, no. Sometimes the uncle commits a mistake, the nephew should forgive. Sometimes the nephew is angry and the uncle tolerates. Like that, kind of try to develop relationship. And Lord Chaitanya had a lot of discussions. Then finally Lord Chaitanya asked him, the other day you broke the mridanga. But after that you did not do any other, you did not try to stop, you did not do any nuisance or what happened? Qazi said, let us go inside. I want to talk to you privately. Please come inside. Nimai said, these are all my associates. You can tell publicly, no problem. And Chand Qazi replied, the day when I broke the mridanga, I had a terrible dream. And I was sleeping and this very dangerous looking person, half man, half lion, he came and he jumped on my chest and he was about to rip apart my chest with anger. Qazi, you have broken the mridanga, so I will break open your chest. The Qazi was, very stout. Probably his body was like mridanga also, very big in between. And then the Qazi was terrified. His hands were shaking. He was trembling. And Lord Narsimhadev told him, that day you broke one mridanga but did not create any much mischief. Therefore I am letting you go. But if any time you try to stop this Sankirtan, I will kill you and your entire dynasty. So this was another instance of, in Gaur Lila, we find reference of Narsingha Lila. You find all the avatars in Lord Chaitanya. To Murari Gupta he showed Lord Ramchandra. To Sridhar Kholavecha he showed Radha Krishna. To Ramanand Rai he showed Radha Krishna form. So that's why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's form is all inclusive. All avatars are there. There's another story in the Chaitanya Bhagavat that when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Navadvip and he was walking in the street and suddenly, actually, Srivas Thakur was somewhat, in anxiety because the Muslim king on the other side of the river, there was some plan that he was going to attack the devotees. And Srivas Thakur was naturally offering prayers to Lord Narsimhadev. Because the devotees, he may not be worried about himself, but a devotee is always concerned about others' welfare, others' safety, especially devotees' safety. Suddenly, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu adopted the mood and said, Srivas, I am he. Ami se, Mui se, I am that person. And he rushed to the house of Srivas. Srivas, what are you doing, Srivas? In that time, Srivas was doing puja to Lord Narsimhadev. Namaste Narasimhaya Prahlada Dadaine Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha Shilatankanakalaye Ito Narsinga Parato Narsinga Yato Yato Yamitato Narsinga Bahir Narsinga Hridaye Narsinga Narsinga Madim Sharanam Prapadye Tavakara Kamala Vare Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringam Keshavadhrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Jayo Narsimhadev 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 Jayo Narsimhadev Jayo Prahlada Maharaj Prahlada Maharaj Prahlada Maharaj Jayo. In this way, Lord Srivas was so absorbed. Lord was knocking on his doors hard, but he was so absorbed that he could not hear. At that time, finally, Lord said, Kahara puja, kaha dhyan kori. Whom are you worshipping? Whom are you meditating? Jahara puja, te dekh vidyaman. आप जिसकी पूजा कर रहे हो आपके सामने है. The Lord you are worshipping, the Lord is before you. And Srivas looked in that direction. And what did he see? Jvalanta Anala. Anala is fire. Jvalant Anala, form which is blazing like fire. Srivas Pandit. And Haile Samadhi Bhang. His meditation was broken. And he saw the Lord Chaitanya assumed the mood of Lord Narsimhadev. And he was in his form with 400 form with Shankha, Chakra, Gada and Padma. And he was roaring, Hari, Hari. He was roaring like an intoxicated lion. Let us chant loudly, Hari, 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 Hari. He was slapping the left side of his stomach like sometimes, you challenge somebody, you take the right hand and slap on the left side, And then Lord said, just by seeing this form, Srivas actually began to tremble. He became stunned, speechless. He was just... Can you imagine some boy in your neighborhood and suddenly he becomes 400 form, Dekhiya kampe Srivas sharire. His body was shivering. And stabda haila. Kichunas fure. He could not speak. Lord said, Srivas, all these days, you do not realize who am I? You do not know my appearance? Tora Uchcha Sankirtan Nadar Hunkare is because of your loud chanting and because of Advaita Acharya's roaring that I have descended from Vaikuntha. I have come down just to associate with you. You are living and you are not concerned about recognizing me. And Advaita Acharya, he has avoided me by going to Shantipur. Now in this avatar I have come, I will destroy the miscreants and deliver the saintly persons. Offer prayers to me. And Srivas Pandit, his body was trembling in ecstasy. He stood up and started offering prayers. He quoted one verse from Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma's prayers, where Lord Brahma is saying that, my dear Lord, you are the only worshipable Lord. I offer my obeisances to Nandanandan Krishna, whose complexion is like a new cloud, monsoon cloud, and he has got brilliant effulgence, and he's having earrings, gunja earrings, and he's carrying a morsel of food in his hand. You find during Brahma Vimohan Lila, this pastime is appearing. Then he started connecting Krishna Lila with Gaur Lila. He said, Vishwambare Charane Amara Namaskar. You understand Bengali little bit? Vishwambare Charane Amara Namaskar. I offer my obeisances to Lord Vishwambar, Nava Ghana Vara. His complexion is, the color is newly formed cloud and dressed in yellow garments. So he's combining Krishna avatar with Gaur avatar. That he is having complexion newly formed rain cloud, that is Krishna, but now he appeared as Gaura. I offer my obeisances to Shachinandan, who is dressed with a peacock feather. I offer my obeisances to the disciple of Gangadas Pandit. And in this way is glorifying the Lord in different ways. Shiva's Pandit spoke, Tumi Vishnu, Tumi Krishna, Tumi Narayan. You are Vishnu, Tumi Krishna, you are Krishna. You are Narsimhadev. So here we find a reference where Shiva's Thakur is glorifying Janaki Jivan Tumi. You are the life of Janaki, means Sita Maharani. And Tumi Narsimha, Ganga Tirtha Vara. The Ganga emanates from your lotus feet. Tumi Vedanta Vedya. You are knowable by the Vedanta. Tumi Haigriva. You are Haigriva Avatar. Tumi Jagat Jivan. Tumi Nilachal Chandra. Who is not bewildered by your illusory energy? Even though Lakshmi Devi is staying with you, she does not know your glories. Even the Lord, who serves you as a companion, friend and brother, he becomes bewildered. Sangi Sakha Bhai. Who is this person who is Sangi and Sakha and Bhai of Krishna? Balram, Ananta Shesh. Even he becomes bewildered. And, oh my Lord, in this avatar, you have put me in Grahastha life. Because earlier Srivas Thakur was Narada Muni. So he's saying, now you have put me in Grahastha life. I have wasted my life. I could not understand you. You have deceived me. Many times he would come and offer service to me. Lord Chaitanya, although he was very naughty boy, very playful, but he would never offend Vaishnavas. And he would do service to Srivas Thakur and other senior devotees. And sometimes they would say, Nimai, why don't you become a devotee of Krishna? Why don't you join ISKCON? Or something. And Nimai would smile and say, someday I'll become a great devotee that even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva will come to associate with me. So here Srivas Thakur is offering obeisances to Lord Narsimhadev and is glorifying him. And he said, my dear Lord, today is the most auspicious day. All my miseries are vanquished because I am seeing your form. Today, my life is successful. Today, my good fortune is awakened. Today, Maura Putra Kula Uddhar Haila. Pitro means forefathers. They are all delivered. Today, there is no limit to the good fortune. I am seeing the lotus feet who is served by Rama Devi. Who is Rama? Lakshmi Devi. And Srivas Thakur was so overwhelmed. He raised his hand and he offered obeisances to the Lord. And Lord Chaitanya said, Srivas, call your family members, call your wife, call your children, call your brothers, everybody. Let them come and offer obeisances to me. So everybody came because Srivas was four brothers, Srivas, Sriram, Sripat, Srinidhi, all of their family members, they came and they offered flowers at the lotus feet of the Lord. And at that time, Lord Vishwambar, now in the mood of Narsimhadev, he put his lotus feet in the head of all the family members. And he gave the benediction. Mora chitta hau sabar. May your mind be fixed on me. This is the benediction we should pray to Lord Narsimhadev. May my mind be fixed at the lotus feet of Radha Gopinath. May all the obstacles which prevent me from meditating on Lord's lotus feet and chanting the holy name be removed, so that I can constantly chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. The Lord suddenly assumed different mood. Srivas, are you fearful? You are fearful that on the other side, the Muslim king is sending boats of soldiers to arrest you all. Do you not know? I am in the heart of the king. If I order the king to order, then he will order the soldiers to arrest you. You understand? If I order the king, then he will order his soldiers to arrest you. And if this is not the case, if he independently orders, then I will go there and meet the king on the boat. And I will tell to the king, O king, call all your mullahs and qazis and bring them together and tell them to bring all the animals and chant all the Quran and all the scriptures and make these creatures cry out in love of God. And they will not be able to do this. Then I will go there and I will tell the king, you dare to stop this Sankirtan of the devotees? Everyone has now seen my power. Then I will call a mad elephant and I will call the horses and the deers and I will tell them to chant Krishna, Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Again the volume is going down. Krishna, Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. And all the family members of the king, they will be chanting in ecstasy. And to create faith in Srivas Thakur or increase faith, Lord Chaitanya told Srivas had 4-year-old niece whose name was Narayani. And Lord Chaitanya told, Narayani, chant Krishna, Krishna. And this 4-year-old Narayani said that, Krishna, Krishna. And she was crying and she was exhibiting all the symptoms of ecstasy. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Srivas, Kichu bhai ache? Are you still having any fear? Srivas Thakur said, I have no fear. Even if it is the time of pralay, I will simply chant your holy name. Gauranga. Gauranga. And this way Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made Srivas Thakur happy and overwhelmed by the opulence of the Lord. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, during in the Antyalila, there is a beautiful story of one great devotee of Lord Narsimhadev. Anybody knows the name of this devotee? Narsimhananda Brahmachari. Actually, he was a great devotee of Lord Narsimhadev. His original name was Pradyumna Brahmachari. But because he was such a great devotee, devotees gave him the name Narsimhananda Brahmachari. It is explained that when Lord Chaitanya was going from Jagannath Puri to Vrindavan, you see, the first time he was going to Vrindavan, he did not reach Vrindavan, but he went to Bengal and he went till Kanai Natshala, then he came back. At that time, when the devotees were thinking that the Lord is coming to Vrindavan, Narsimhananda Brahmachari, in his transcendental meditation, he was preparing a road to welcome Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Vrindavan. And he prepared road with precious jewels and diamonds and colorful and flower petals in his mind. Prabhupada says that if somebody does not have anything, you can offer things in the mind also. Of course, if you have, then you should actually offer also. It's not that you say, Krishna, I offer you in the mind and then privately you're eating samosa and kachodis. Yeah. Whatever is your capacity, you should give the best. Like Bhaktivedanta Thakur tells one story that one person was traveling on the bank of the Ganga and he was having some popcorn, So he was not planning to offer to the Lord, but suddenly a strong breeze blew and the entire popcorn fell in the river Ganga. He said, Oh Krishna Arpanam, Govinda Arpanam, Achyut Arpanam. So this is not the best way of offering. We should offer the best thing. So this great devotee, Narsimhananda Brahmachari, prepared the road very beautifully. He said, Lord Chaitanya is coming. But till Kanai Natshala he prepared. And then he was unable to prepare in spite of his great effort. So he told the devotees that Lord Chaitanya will come, but he will not come till Vrindavan. He will come till Kanai Natshala and then go back. And it actually happened. Lord Chaitanya came to Ramkeli. He met Rupa and Sanatan Goswami and he gave them mercy, and that was the time he gave them initiation. And then Sanatan Goswami advised him not to go to Vrindavan with such a big group. Lord Chaitanya went little away till Kanai Natshala, and then he decided to return back to Jagannath Puri. That is the greatness of Narsimhananda Brahmachari. He could understand the mind of the Lord. Another pastime of Narsimhananda Brahmacharis. See, Lord Chaitanya was staying after sannyas, he was staying in Jagannath Puri. And devotees would come to meet Lord Chaitanya from Navadvip, Shantipur, Srikhanda, all about 200 devotees under the leadership of Shivananda Sen. They would come to meet Lord Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri. And they would spend 4 months. They would spend 4 months. Once one devotee asked His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, there were many, this is more than 10 years back this question was asked, that how would devotees who were in Grihastha ashram spend 4 months with Lord Chaitanya? Can you imagine if you announce a yatra for 4 months? Very difficult for devotees in the Grihastha ashram. So Maharaj replied that they were living very simply. If we have simple living, then the cost of living is very less. And second thing Maharaj said, that intelligent planning. They would not necessarily be working all 12 months. The devotee should live a life in such a way that he can spend more and more time in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. Especially as age advances, one should think of becoming completely absorbed in the transcendental sound vibration of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So every year devotees would come to Puri, and they generally would come around Rath Yatra time, and they would stay for 4 months. But one year, Lord Chaitanya sent a message that tell the devotees not to come to Puri, rather in the month of Paush is around December, January time. That time I will come to Bengal and I will give my association to devotees there. So all the devotees that year, Rath Yatra, they did not go to Puri. And they were eagerly awaiting Lord Chaitanya to come. But Lord Chaitanya did not come. Shivananda, Jagadananda, they were very much disappointed. Jagadananda, Shivananda, Haila, Nirananda. Jagadananda and Shivananda, they were Niran because they were feeling very dejected. They were very dejected in separation from the Lord. Suddenly Narsimhadev came. There are many Anands here. There's Shivananda, Jagadananda and Narsimhadev. And I'm speaking, I'm Krishnanand. Just putting some jokes because I'm seeing, because now with the AC on, it's very auspicious to take rest also. So Narsimhananda Brahmachari came. Oh, please come. He asked, what happened to you? Toma dokhare kena haila nirananda. How come you have become Nirananda? Sriram Prabhu, keep eyes open. Some people, they can listen with closed eyes also, but better to not set that example. Then Shivananda told him, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu promised us he will come, but he has not come. We are very disappointed. Immediately Narsimhananda Brahmachari said, I will rectify, I'll satisfy you. Within 3 days, Lord Chaitanya will be here in Bengal. And Shivananda, Jagadananda, they knew the power of Narsimhananda Brahmachari. There's some very great brahmacharis in Gaur Lila, like Shuklambar Brahmachari, another great devotee. There are great grihasthas like Srivas Thakur, Shivananda Sen, Advaita Acharya, Haridas Thakur. Interestingly, this same Prahlada Maharaj in Gaur Lila, he becomes Vasudev Datta Thakur. So you find that there is so much variety in Krishna consciousness, unity in diversity. So here, Narsimhananda is a brahmachari and Shivananda Sen is grihastha. And they said, don't worry, I will take care. And it went on for some time. Actually, as I told you, that his name was Pradyumna Brahmachari. And after 2 days, the devotees asked him, he was just in meditation for 2 days. And the devotees asked him, Haribol, kuch ho raha hai ki nahi? Where are you? He replied, Panihate Grame Prabhu Alila. He has come till Panihati. Panihati is what modern day part of almost Calcutta. So he's on the way, And by tomorrow noon, he will be here. Please get me all the ingredients, rice and sabji, and I will personally cook. I want to offer to Lord Gauranga. So he brought all the ingredients. Don't doubt me. So they all started bringing all the ingredients. And Shivananda saying, he was a very exalted devotee. Now, you see, one exalted devotee is taking shelter of another exalted devotee. There is no pride. That Shivananda Sen is not thinking, I am senior, so how can I take help of a brahmachari? There is so much the mood of respect and love that removes any form of pride. So Narsimhananda brahmachari started preparing. Pratakala haite paka kari, like many items. There was vegetables, cakes and sweet rice. By hearing, you do not break fast. There's no problem in hearing. So they were preparing all the items. And then he made 3 plates. 3 plates. Just like here we have for Gaurnitai, Radha, Gopinath and for Gopal. So there were 3 plates prepared. One was for Lord Chaitanya, is about to come. Another plate was for Jagannath. And 3rd plate was for Narsimhananda. Because Narsimhananda is his Ishtadev. Privately another plate for Narsimhananda. So, and he was sitting in meditation. And just in his dhyan, what did he see? Dekhe shigra asi basila Chaitanya Gosai. Lord Gauranga has come, we're so happy. Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. He was so much in ecstasy. But what happened? Tina bhoga khaila kichu nahi rahila. Lord Chaitanya came, he ate his plate, he ate Jagannath's plate, he ate Narsingadev's plate. Hare Krishna. There's practical problems in deity worship also. So he was surprised. He said, oh my Lord, what are you doing? What are you doing? And tears were coming out of his eyes. He was happy. He was happy that Lord came, but he was unhappy. Bhai, hamare Bhagwan ka kyun khaya, no? You can eat your quota, but that's like Vaishnava etiquette, deity etiquette should be there. One deity is not supposed to take from another deity. So he was surprised. My Lord, what are you doing? What are you doing? In fact, in Jagannath Puri, same thing happened. When the Radha deity came from South India, the king of Odisha brought, there was no temple for Radha, so they put the deity at the same level with Jagannath. The king thought that apas mein bhai milke rahenge. So, but within few days, Lord Jagannath appeared in dream and said, I am not getting my prasad, bhoga. This Radha he is not even waiting for the mantras, he just takes the... So better you made another temple. So in the prasadam distribution is a practical problem even at the highest level. So here, Narsimhananda was shocked. Lord is eating everything. Oh my Lord, why are you eating? Jagannath to me aikyat. I agree with the fact that you and Jagannath are one. So if you are accepting what is offered to Jagannath, I have no objection because you are both one. But Amara Narsinga Bhoga Kena Khaye. Why is your Lord eating my Lord's bhojan? Why are you eating the plate of my Narsingadev? Narsimha upavas hai, Thakur upavas rahe, jiye kaise das. If my Lord is fasting, how can I eat? So he was happy, but he was externally expressing disappointment. And then why did the Lord perform this lila? The reason I told this story is very important. Please repeat this beautiful verse. This will help you remember. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna Chaitanya Gosai Jagannath Narsimha Saha Kishu Bheda Nahi. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. That Lord Chaitanya is Swayam Bhagavan, and there is no difference between him and Narsingadev and Lord Jagannath. Jai Gaura, say Krishna, say Jagannath, say Narsimha. The same Lord is appearing. Just to show this fact, Lord Chaitanya wanted to show this fact to Pradyumna Brahmachari. He revealed to him by practical demonstration. Now, the devotees could not understand. Just like suppose the pujari is sitting there and we are all watching and suddenly he says, he's talking to the deities. And others cannot, there's not like, it was not on Zoom or anything, So nobody could understand. And they were doubting. He told the devotee, Lord came, but they were doubting. Shivananda asked Narsimhananda, why are you so much disappointed? Then he replied, तीन जनेर भोगा तेहो एकला खाइला. Teho kahe, dekh tomara Prabhu. Just see the behavior of your Lord. Your Lord is Gauranga, my Lord is Narsimha. Just see the behavior of your Lord. What did he do? He took the prasad from my Lord's plate. Tina janera bhoga teho ekala khaila, Jagannatha Narsimha upavasi rahila. The Bengali is so sweet language. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur told that a time will come when people will learn Bengali to read Chaitanya Charitamrita. Because by the mercy of Prabhupada, even if you don't know Bengali, you can understand Chaitanya Charitamrita. How much we should be grateful to Srila Prabhupada. He has given us entrance by Bhagavatam, he has given Krishna lila, Narsimha lila, and then Chaitanya lila and Chaitanya Charitamrita. Through the writings of Prabhupada, we can understand who is Lord Narsimhadev, who is Prahlada Maharaj, what are they, who is Lord Gauranga. So, now the devotees, Shivanand Sen was not sure. He respected, he had full respect for Narsimha Brahmachari, but he was thinking, maybe he is thinking because of ecstasy, did Lord Chaitanya actually come? If he came, how come we could not see him like that? So, then Narsimananda told, please get me fresh rice. They brought fresh rice. Get me fresh sabji. And he cooked the offering. And this time he made only one plate. And that was for Narsimhadev. Gauranga Mahaprabhu outside the curtain. Only Narsimhadev in the altar. And now devotees were thinking, did Lord Chaitanya actually come? So next year they went to meet Lord Chaitanya in Puri. And then one day, Lord Chaitanya started glorifying Narsimhananda Brahmachari. He said, Gata varshe pausya maise karaila bhojan. Last year, in the month of Paush, December, January, when Narsimhananda made nice prasad for me, Kabu nai khai aiche mishtan vyanjan. I have never eaten such beautiful vegetables and sweet meats. Shuni bhakta gane mane ascharya haila. Then the devotees could understand. Shivanandera mane pratyaya janmila. Shivananda's mind was freed from any doubts. Sometimes, even in the mind of great devotees, doubts may appear. So, but the Lord arranges for clarification. Now we come to another pastime of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in connection with Narsimhadev. This is during the yatra to Lord, to the holy tirthas of South India. Our dear Nityananda Prabhu can actually explain much better about unlimited glories of Narsimhadev. In one South India yatra, he was beautifully explaining, giving beautiful notes to Maharaja, and he's done a lot of research. Maybe we can speak for a few minutes afterwards. So, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you see South India, Lord Narsimhadev's temples are very often. In fact, yesterday Gauranga Prabhu was explaining in between the talks that most of the temples in India are in southern part compared to North India, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Kerala. So many, practically hundreds, thousands of temples. So, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was in Jagannath Puri, after taking sannyas, he was staying in Puri. And then he decided to go to South India. He wanted to deliver the people of South India. He wanted to preach the glories of the holy name. But externally he gave the reason. The reason he gave was that my brother Vishwarup took sannyas. And I do not know where he is. So I just to find him, I'm going on the yatra. So if you have to go on yatra for spiritual reasons and there's no way out, then this is a valid. Sometimes excuses are helpful to mundane, especially if you have a mundane boss. So Lord Chaitanya used this excuse, and first he came to Kurma Kshetra. In Kurma Kshetra, he showed mercy to this Kurma Brahman. It's a very interesting place. Any of you been to Kurma Kshetra? Actually, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj took us yatra there more than almost 2 decades over, in late 90s. It's a very beautiful place. The temple of Lord Kurma Bhagavan, Kachwa, tortoise incarnation. And interesting that the place is called Kurma Kshetra, the temple is Kurma Bhagavan, and the Brahman's name was Kurma. The idea is Kurma at kurma.kurma, like. So Lord Chaitanya went to Kurma Kshetra and he was dancing for a long time. And then one of the devotees, this Kurma Brahman, he invited the Lord to come to his home for prasad. That place is still there and very, very beautiful. It's little from Srikakulam station. It's about 12 kilometers away. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went to this Brahmana's home and he was so happy. He washed Lord Chaitanya's feet and said, now my home is become purified. Now my life is successful. I want to just travel with you. I'm fed up with the miseries of family life. Generally, one may think that Lord Chaitanya would be very happy. But Lord Chaitanya said, no, do not speak like this. And he gave the famous instruction, Jare Dekha, Tarikaha, Krishna Upadesh, Amaragya Guru Hayate. This instruction was given to a Grahastha devotee. That Lord Chaitanya's message is universal. Whomever you meet, you tell them the message of Gita or Bhagavat, or make them to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left Kurmakshetra. He gave this instruction and he left. Another Brahmana whose name was Vasudev was suffering from very severe form of leprosy. He had such diseased body that there were living worms. Can you imagine how embarrassing, how painful, how nobody would want to sit near a person who has got living worms falling out of the body, even if there is some rasgulla available, So he was kind of, nobody would want to be near him. But he got the news that Lord Chaitanya is coming to Kurmakshetra. So he came to Kurmakshetra with the hope of meeting the Lord, and Lord Chaitanya had left. And then he was crying that, where is Lord Chaitanya? I am so unfortunate. And because he was crying, Lord Chaitanya came back. The only part in South India Yatra where Lord Chaitanya takes a U-turn, comes back just to meet one devotee. This means how a Lord cares for even one devotee. Because he was crying. When we actually cry for Krishna, when we actually cry from the core of the heart, Ha ha Prabhu Nanda Sutta, Vrishabhanu Sutta, O Nanda Nandan Krishna, O Radharani, Toma Bina Ke Ache Amar, then nobody accepts you. In that mood of crying, when one chants the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. When we cry out for mercy, we get mercy. In a very interesting lecture, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj took some of the senior devotees to a yatra in Bangladesh. It was organized by His Holiness Indradumna Maharaj, and many of our devotees from temple were there. I was also fortunate to be included. So there Maharaj was explaining how to develop that taste for holy name. He was saying one should beg for that mercy, plead for mercy, cry for mercy. Today we can plead to Lord Narsimhadev. Lord Narsimhadev, please, just like you killed Hiranyakashipu, please enter into my heart and destroy the anarthas which are like Hiranyakashipu, which are preventing me from rendering pure devotional service. Lord Narsimhadev's nails are very powerful. They are like chisels and they can just penetrate through the core of the dirtiest of the heart and purify of all anarthas. So because this great devotee was crying, Lord Chaitanya came back and Lord Chaitanya embraced him. He was feeling very awkward. I'm so contaminated, even from the material point of view. There was pus coming out of his body. But Lord Chaitanya embraced him. And his body became beautiful, like golden complexion. And, generally, if a person is diseased and he becomes cured, you feel so happy. Like suppose, by Krishna's grace, now things have gone a little better. But 2 years back, 1.5 years back, when things were very bad all over the world with corona, and suppose you are detected positive, and after treatment you become negative, you feel so happy, I'm cured. But this Brahmana, he was feeling embarrassed. He was feeling fearful, in anxiety. Why? Because Lord Chaitanya embraced him, and he was thinking everybody will come to know, and people will glorify me, and I'll become proud, and that pride is more dangerous than leprosy or any other disease in this world. Some of us, like when we are, as I was telling earlier, if you find that somebody's great soul is embracing you, immediately you want, okay, please click, please take a shot, put it in all WhatsApp group, Maharaj is embracing me, Prabhupada is embracing me. But just see the humility of Vasudeva. He did not want any recognition. Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur says, Pratishta ei shukarera vishta. This fame, adoration for which the world is longing is like the dung of a boar, like shukarera vishta. The devotee does not want. So Lord Chaitanya told him that one secret by which you will remain free from pride. Lord Chaitanya said, Tumi love nirantar Krishnana. Tabe habe nir abhiman. Abhiman means pride. Nir abhiman means free from pride. You can remain free from pride if you always chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced this Brahmana and cured him. From that day, Lord Chaitanya received another name, Vasudev Amrita Prada, that one who delivers Vasudev. This is one Vasudev. Another Vasudev is Vasudev Datta Thakur. It's appropriate to speak about him today because he is none other than Prahlada Maharaj. Vasudev Datta Thakur is an incarnation of Prahlada Maharaj. Many years back, we went with His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj Yatra to Mamgachi, the place, the house of Vrindavan Das Thakur, of Vasudeva Thakur, Saranga Thakur, many Thakurs together. You know, Thakur means great, so like Haridas Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, Mahashay. So, Vasudeva Thakur, he was a grahastha, he had family, but he was so generous that whatever he would get, he would spend that day. He would not keep a farthing or even a paisa for himself. According to Shastra, a grahastha devotee is allowed to keep. You know, he should keep like whatever income is there. Some part, major part is generally kept. Nowadays you have to tell devotees, please give something. Yeah. But Vasudeva's problem was he would give everything. He would not keep anything for his family. So Lord Chaitanya called for Shivananda Sen and told Shivananda, please you become the Sarakhela. Please manage the accounts of Vasudeva and advise him that he should keep something for himself. You know, nowadays in brahmacharis, we have to keep some money for traveling. You know, going out, you can't just, you know. But Lord Vasudeva was so much transcendental platform. He was Paramahamsa Vaishnava. But Lord Chaitanya advised him, you keep something. So Vasudeva, one day Lord Chaitanya asked him for what boon he wants. And Vasudeva said, my Lord, it breaks my heart to see the sufferings of all living beings. My Lord, if you want to give me a benediction, please give me a benediction that all living entities in all the universes may go back home, back to Godhead. All living beings. And if there is any sinful reaction that they have accrued, if there is any karma, please transfer that karma to me. Let me suffer for them perpetually. Let others go back home, back to Godhead, and let me suffer in this material world perpetually. Just see the amazing, the gravity and the magnanimity of such a great soul like Vasudeva Datta Thakur. And millions of mouths cannot enough glorify such a great devotee like Vasudeva Datta Thakur, who is none other than Prahlada Maharaj. Lord Chaitanya was in tears. He said, Vasudeva, do not worry. Your desire will be fulfilled. All living beings will go back home, back to Godhead. And you do not have to suffer. You do not have to suffer. And Prabhupada gives in the purport, he explains the glory of Vasudeva Datta Thakur. He said, the prayers, the consciousness of Vasudeva Thakur is unparalleled even in Vaishnava history. Unparalleled. We find in the Christianity, Lord Jesus Christ, he is also praying for his followers, for those who are Christians. But Vasudeva Thakur extends not only to Hindu or Christian or Muslim, or he's praying even for the terrorist, even for the mosquitoes who come to meet you in the night. He's praying for the snakes, for the rhinoceros, for the bacteria, even for the coronavirus also. he's praying, let all living beings go back home, back to God. You know, so this is the sign of a great soul. Like how much a person is tolerant. Like Prabhupada says, you can know the greatness of a person by his ability to tolerate provoking situations. There is the example of Vasudeva Thakur, that he doesn't mind going to hell forever. Let others go back to God. A person like me would say, my Lord, please take me back to God. And if I am very sinful, distribute. There are many devotees here. They can take 1%. Let me be relieved. So this is the difference between a Mahatma and a Kripana. A Mahatma is one who is willingly wants to accept sufferings on behalf of others. It is said in the Bhagavatam by Lord Shiva that when the pastime of Samudra Manthan takes place, the churning of the milk ocean, at that time there is poison coming out. So all the demigods, they rush to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu diverts the call to Lord Shiva. Like, please go to Lord Shiva. Because he wants to glorify Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is telling to Devi, Parvati, that I shall drink this poison. Why? Because there is no better way to please the Supreme Lord than to accept difficulties and inconveniences for uplifting others. There is nothing more pleasing to the Lord when we do something, when we accept difficulties, miseries, sufferings for elevating others in Krishna consciousness. In all levels, materially or spiritually, helping others. And you find this so much in the life of Srila Prabhupada. How much he is in the mood of Vasudeva Thakur. If you read the prayers of Prabhupada when he came to America, how much he is praying. He said, I have come to this Ugrasthan. I do not know. The consciousness of people are contaminated with the modes of passion and ignorance. Please give me words to elevate others. How much Prabhupada, he would actually cook for the newcomers. He would cook for those who were drug addicts. He would serve them personally. Many of them would come when the bell was rang for the offering. They would think this call for them, And many of them, they were drunkards. But Prabhupada, in the mood of Vasudeva Thakur, was willing to extend himself to elevate others on the path of Krishna consciousness. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after he delivered Vasudeva, next he came to this place which is called Jiyada Narsimha. It's a very beautiful place, very near the city of Visakhapatnam, about maybe 10 miles or so. This particular deity, Jiyada Narsimha, is half Narsingadev and half Varahadev. Half Narsingadev and half Varahadev. It's actually a very ancient deity. And later on, one king named Jiyada, he actually re-established that temple. That's how the name Jiyada Narsimha came. So Lord Chaitanya Prabhu came, and this deity is covered by chandan, by sandalwood, all 364 days a year. Because here Lord is in very ugra form. He is very angry because his dear devotee, Prahlada Maharaja, has been persecuted, mistreated. He's so angry. He's so angry. It is said that if you take out the chandan on some other day other than Akshaya Tritiya, just one day a year the chandan is removed. If you remove the chandan some other day, then all the pujaris and everybody will be burnt to ashes. Such is the anger of the Lord because of Prahlada Maharaj is being mistreated. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this temple. I was fortunate to be there on the day of Akshaya Tritiya. There's a line of several kilometers, but it's very pleasing because in the end you get to see Jiyada Narsimha. In the day, on the special day when the chandan is removed, it looks much different. And of course, on the way they gave nice lemon sharbat and other things. Today we have to fast nirjala if possible. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to this temple and he started chanting these beautiful prayers. He was dancing and he said, Shri Narsimha, Jaya Narsimha, Jaya Jaya Narsimha. Prahladesha Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma Bringa. Shri Narsimha means, the word Shri means Lakshmi. So Shri Narsimha means Lakshmi Narsimha. Shri Narsimha, Jaya Narsimha means all glories to Lord Narsimha. Jaya Jaya Narsimha, all glories to Lord Narsimha Deva. And Prahlad Isha. Prahlad Isha means the Lord of Prahlad Maharaj. Padma Mukha Padma Bringa. This is alliteration. In grammar, alliteration is considered to be very beautiful. It makes the verse very ornamented, beautiful. So here, Lakshmi Devi's face is compared to a lotus. And Lord Narsimhadev is like a bringer, like a beautiful bumblebee. Like a bumblebee is focusing on the lotus to get the nectar. So in the same manner, Lord Narsimhadev is beholding the beautiful form of Mother Lakshmi Devi. Now the purport is very important. Prabhupada is explaining that Lakshmi Devi is always embraced by Narsimhadev, and this is mentioned in the commentary of Srimad Bhagavatam by the great commentator Sridhar Swami, original commentator. So Sridhar Swami, he writes in the commentary in the 10th canto, Vag Isha Yasya Vadane Lakshmir Yasya Cha Bhakshasi Yasyaste Hridaya Samvittam Narsimam Aham Bhaje. Vag Isha Vadane. It means Lord Narsimhadev is assisted by Saraswati Devi. Saraswati Devi is the goddess of fortune and is embracing Lakshmi Devi. He is always complete in knowledge. Let me offer obeisances to that Lord Narsimhadev who is complete in all knowledge. And then he is quoting another verse from Bhagavatam, commentary of Bhagavatam by Sridhar Swami. He says, let me offer obeisances to Lord Narsimhadev who is enlightening Prahlada from within the heart. That's why we chose this topic of prayers, because the glories of Lord Narsimhadev are known to somebody like Prahlada Maharaj, and he kills the nishines that attacks the devotees. The ignorance in our heart is destroyed by Narsimhadev, and his mercy is distributed like moonshine, like the cooling moon, especially in the summer season after sunset, and his face is like that of a lion. Generally, when somebody has a lion-like face, then it's not moonshine, it becomes sunshine. But Lord Narsimhadev's face is like lion, but is giving moonshine also. And then Lord Chaitanya quoted this beautiful verse. This is also from the commentary of Sridhar Swami. Ugropi anugra evayam svabhakta nrikeshari keshari eva swapotanam anyasya ugra vikramaha. Although ferocious, the lioness is very kind to her cubs. Although Lord Narsimhadev is very ferocious to non-devotees like Hiranyakashipu, but is very, very soft and kind to devotees like Prahlada Maharaj. So here is the contrast. You have the choice. Either become like Hiranyakashipu, then the Lord will appear very ferocious to us. We disobey the Lord, act against His will and maintain separate interest. Or we become like Prahlad. Prahlad aladadai, Narsingamadim Sharanam Prapade, Narsingamadim Sharanam Prapade, Narsingamadim. I surrender to Lord Narsimhadev. Then you follow in the footsteps of Prahlad, and for us, then Lord Narsimhadev becomes like a mother, very kind. Just like the lioness is very kind to her cubs, but very ferocious for others. Lord Narsimhadev is very kind to those who take shelter of Him by chanting the holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had darshan, and he was reciting different verses from the Shastras, glorifying Lord Narsimhadev. Suddenly the Pujari came and he brought garland of Lord Narsimhadev and gave it to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He brought some remnants also. And then the Lord continued on further. From there he went to various places and he came to Rajmundri, where he met Ramanand Rai. That's a totally long topic, which very, very enlightening. And then he came to Mangalgiri, Panaka Narsimha. Now Prabhupada explains about Mangalgiri. There is a very beautiful description that there are many steps. In fact, in Mangalgiri, there are two Narsingha temples. One is on the foothills, and that temple was established by Yudhishthir Maharaj. As you know, Yudhishthir Maharaj, the 5 Pandavas, for 12 years, they were in exile. They traveled all through Bharatvarsh. In fact, they came to Maharashtra also. There are some places in Maharashtra, like Daund, there is one place, one temple established by Yudhishthir Maharaj. There are many temples like this. So, there's one temple in on the basement, the starting point. See, the temple of Panaka Narsimha, you have to climb several steps, hundreds of steps. But the temple at the basement is of Lord Narsimhadev, established by Yudhishthir Maharaj. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited, he went up to the temple of Panaka Narsimha. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur has established footprints of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Wherever Lord Chaitanya Prabhu went, especially in South India, you'll find in Sri Rangam, in Tirupati, and also in Mangalgiri. So, Lord Chaitanya Prabhu had darshan. In fact, in this Thala Mahatma, it is described that Mangalgiri, the place of Lord Narsimhadev, is very, very potent. And by going there, one becomes freed from all sinful reactions. In fact, it is explained that sometimes, generally, when Yamaraj sends his agents, they are known as Yamadutas. In Kali Yuga, they are very, very busy. They don't have holiday on Saturday, Sunday also. So there's Yamadutas, and they don't work online. They come offline, But there's no Zoom group for Yamadutas, So these Yamadutas, they come, and the people are thrown, like you read in the Bhagavatam 5th canto. Sometimes you are put in burning oil. Sometimes you are tortured by the birds. But sometimes Lord Yamaraj is especially kind. He brings the sinful living beings to Mangalgiri. And just by bringing them to Mangalgiri, they become free from sinful reaction. They are liberated. They are shortcut. So that is the potency of this place. Of course, this was already a holy place. But when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go, the holy places would become more holy. The pastime there is that when Lord Narsimhadev, after he killed Hiranyakashipu, there's another demon, his name was Nambuchi, and he was such a powerful demon. He performed austerities for hundreds of years, just standing on the tip of a needle. Hare Krishna. Just imagine, fasting. We have to fast only maybe 8 hours more, and already, different signals are coming, And when we sit also, it's not easy to sit in one posture. Can you imagine standing for hundreds of years, tip of a needle? And then he asked for this benediction. Just like Hiranyakashipu asked, neither inside nor outside nor... these demons are very intelligent, but they are stupid also. Because they ask for benediction. They don't know that the password is with Krishna. He can break any time. Whatever you ask, the Lord has some alternative to break. So in Nambuchi, he asked for a benediction that I not be killed by any weapon which is wet or dry. Correct? Nityananda Prabhu, is that correct? Yes. Prabhu is authority in Narsimha, Lila and South India's temples. So he asked for a benediction that he not be killed by any weapon, either wet or dry. And then Lord Narsimhadev came. He started hiding. The demon was trying to hide. And then Lord Narsimhadev took a weapon which is neither dry or wet, and that is foam. He took a chakra of the foam and killed this demon, Ambuchi. Shri Narsimhadev Bhagavan ki jai. Reward. Even children delight. So Narsimhadev, this particular pastime, and it's explained that that particular vigraha, the Swambhu vigraha, there are different opinions, but one of the pujaris told me that Lord Narsimhadev himself, when he came there to kill, he became the deity. It's not a deity made, but it's a Swambhu vigraha. And there, if you go there, actually Lord Narsimhadev, he was very, very angry. Just to pacify the Lord, the devotees in Satya Yuga, they would offer amrita, nectar. Just like somebody is very angry, you say, okay, you can drink this limca or lime water, It's very angry. So just to pacify the Lord, the demigods offered nectar in Satya Yuga. The next Yuga is Tirita Yuga, where nectar is not available. So he was offered ghee. And the ghee is the next best. So then after Tirita Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, ghee is also not easily available. So then we offer milk. And then coming to Kali Yuga, even milk, getting is difficult. You get white water, but very difficult to get, Although it may be called A1, A2, but who knows, So then that's why here the devotees offer him panaka. That is water with jaggery and some spices. It's very nice, very tasty. So whatever you take, half of it the Lord accepts, and then there is some sound, and the rest of the half is like prasad. It's a very, very beautiful place, and if you have not been, you should go. And if you have gone, you should again go. It's very, very purifying experience, a nice place for purification and chanting the holy name. So this is another place where Lord Chaitanya Prabhu went during his South India yatra. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, he traveled all over South India. Then he came to Udupi, he came to Mumbai also, the Dvaipayani. This Mumbai was named at that time Dvaipayani. And then, of course, he went to Nashik, and then he went back the bank of the Godavari, back to the place Jagannath Puri. It's getting time. I'll just end with some of the prayers of the 7th canto. I was planning to actually discuss, but somehow Gaur Lila took away Narsingha Lila. But Gaur Lila is also connected because same Lord. There's another important, I'll just read the important verses which Prahlada Maharaj is saying. Just the next verse is saying, my dear Lord, one may possess lot of wealth and beauty, austerity, but I think the Lord will not be satisfied by wealth, beauty, or any other education. Like Kunti Maharani says, Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shribir Edamana Madhapaman. That one is born in an aristocratic family, a beautiful body, or very learned, or very wealthy. It's difficult for him to cry out. Tvam akinchana gochara. This is one of the favorite verses of His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. He's given many lectures on this, where he explains that to cry out the holy name of the Lord, one should be in a mood of helplessness. One should be meek. Same point Prahlada Maharaj is saying here, same which Maharaj has explained, that one should feel himself helpless. And Prahlada is saying that example of Gajendra. Gajendra did not perform any austerities. Gajendra did not do any nirjala upvas or, but he could satisfy the Lord because he had bhakti. Like in Gaur Lila also, there's a devotee who was simply drinking milk, austerities. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu disapproved. He told that simply by drinking milk, you cannot attain me. You can attain me by bhakti. Then Prahlada Maharaj tells another verse, that just like if you put a decoration on a face, or a more practical example, if you put a tilak on your face, then a reflection in the mirror will automatically have tilak. You don't have to put the tilak on the mirror. You understand? So same way, if one is offering service to the Lord, a devotee does not need, if one is offering service to Krishna, that service is for the benefit of the devotee. The Lord does not need our service. And then Prahlada Maharaj took one nice verse where he explains that, my dear Lord, please, your appearance in the form of Narsimhadev is for your own pleasure, but now please stop your anger. Because my father, Hiranyakashipu, has been killed. And then there's a beautiful example. Modate api sadhu vrishtiki sarpa hatya. Modate means takes great pleasure. Even a sadhu or a saintly person takes pleasure when a snake or a scorpion is killed. Now, my dear Lord, everybody is happy and please stop your anger. There's a very interesting incident took place in the life of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, and our dear Prabhupada was also there. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was in the mutt in Mayapur, in his room in first floor near the balcony, and he saw one snake, and he told the devotees down, kill it immediately, kill the snake. And immediately the snake was killed. So Srila Prabhupada was also watching. So wondering that generally a sadhu should not kill any animal. We are not supposed to harm even an ant. Then he came across this verse which says, Modati api sadhu vrishtiki sarpa hatya. Because the snake causes harm to people, unprovoked also. So even a devotee takes pleasure when a snake or a scorpion is killed. In another verse, Prahlada Maharaj is praying to Lord, I am not afraid of your sharp pinching teeth, but your eyes which are like bright like the sun, a ferocious mouth. My dear Lord, I am afraid of one thing. I am afraid of this materialistic world. I am afraid of being in a situation where I forget you. The greatest gain is to remember Krishna for one moment. And the greatest loss is to forget Krishna. Prahlada Maharaj gives another example. Like Prabhupada explained the purport, the elephant and the fish. You see, elephant and fish, who will be victorious? Suppose we have a tournament Elephant Prabhu versus fish Prabhu, fish Mataji, whatever. So who will be victorious? There's no comparison. The elephant can trample upon the fish in no time. But let us take the test in the deep water of the ocean or in a river. The elephant will immediately drown, but the fish will swim happily. So this material world is like a great ocean, and the materialistic scientists, politicians, doctors, rich people who are not devotees, they are all like elephants. They will eventually drown in the cycle of birth and death. But a devotee, he knows the art of swimming, crossing over the world, dangerous world. Just like you swim with your hands, similarly we swim by putting the hands in the bead bag and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Srila Prabhupada says in the purport in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the greatest art is to take shelter of Krishna. That's why we say Narsimhadev Sharanam Prapadye, to take shelter of Krishna. So Prahlada Maharaj is saying, anybody who takes shelter of your lotus feet will attain success in life. He's praying, my Lord, this is a very beautiful verse. Balasya neha sharanam pitaro narsimha. My dear Lord, if you do not protect, nobody can be protected. A child cannot be protected by his parents. A physician or a doctor cannot cure the patient. And a boat or a ship cannot save a drowning man. I remember when I was in my early childhood, I used to go to a doctor. His name was also Vaishnav, Dr. Vaishnav. He was not a Vaishnav, but his name. So he had one sign, I give medicine, God cures. So actually a doctor can give medicine, it's his duty. But it's Krishna who cures. Sometimes the doctor gives the same medicine to two patients. One of them is cured and the other, Haribol. Ram Nam Satya hai. So it's Krishna who cures. Then Prahlada Maharaj is speaking about the boat, the classic example of the famous ship. Everybody knows about a century back, the Titanic. They were advertising that a ship which even God cannot drown. So they were challenging, okay, ho jaye, Gopinath challenge. So in the maiden voyage, in the first journey, it hit an iceberg, and very tragic. Even the people who were sending signals, receiving signals, could not believe. They were designed with the best engineering fundamentals. It was mentioned that this ship is so glorious, anybody who travels in this journey, his name will be there in the history books. And certainly only history books. So, Rakhe Krishna Mare Krishna Titanic ke. Titanic cannot cure. Because we should do all the remedies, whatever medical, physical facilities, but ultimately Krishna is there. Krishna is like Prabhupada when he was in last days, he told the devotees, don't give me this aggressive medicines. I want just to be surrounded with the holy name. He was just taking complete shelter of the holy name. Although he was apparently very weak, he was in the bed, he was carried, but he was speaking so clearly. And he told the devotees, do not think that this will not happen to you. This old age, disease, death will come. The Prabhupada is preparing us by his example. We can pray to Lord Narsimhadev. We don't know when death will come. Prabhupada says in one place, somebody asked him on Narsingh Chaturdashi, he said, how to celebrate Narsingh Chaturdashi? The one-line answer. Anybody knows? Prabhupada says, Narsingh Chaturdashi means you should remember, death is coming, let me remember Narsimhadev. That should be the meditation. That any minute death will come. I have to pray to Lord Narsimhadev. Please give me remembrance of the holy name. Please let me remember the lotus feet of Guru and Gauranga. And let me chant the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Prahlada Maharaj, he said, my dear Lord, from Brahma to the ant, all are devoured by you. Please, I just want to be in touch with your devotee. And I'm coming to the very special verse which in the beginning I mentioned, where he's glorifying his, this is the verse, where he's glorifying Narada Muni. Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe Kamabhikamam anuya prapatan prasangat kritvatmasata surasini bhagavan grihita soham katham nu visrije tava bhritya sevam. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of my association with material desires one after another, I was gradually falling in a blind well full of snakes. But your servant Narad Muni kindly accepted me as a disciple and instructed me how to achieve the transcendental position. Therefore, my first duty is to serve him. How could I leave his service? So this is the essence of Vaishnavism. Service to Guru and Vaishnava. Hari Guru Vaishnava. And Prabhupada writes in the purport here, Prahlada Maharaj was offered all benediction. The Lord is personally there. He could have said, I want to serve you directly. But he said, please, I want to serve my Gurudev. In one Mayapur, Prabhupada was going to take bath. And he took the help of one servant to go inside the water. And then Prabhupada, after reaching, he pushed the hand and said, Mayavadi, now I don't need you. Mayavadis are like this. They want to take the help of Guru or somebody and then we don't need any help. But Vaishnav means Chakshudan dilo jai janme janme Prabhu se. That I want to serve my Guru Maharaj and the Vaishnavas. Be grateful. Like Maharaj often said, gratefulness, humility. These are the qualities of Vaishnava. The Prahlada Maharaj expressing his gratefulness to Narad Muni. That he took me out. Janme janme, birth after birth, I want to serve him. And Prabhupada writes, this is the pure devotee's symptom. We should first serve Guru and then serve Krishna. Tandera charana se bhakta sanivas janame janame hai abhilash. I'll end with this purport. It's a very deep purport. One should not be anxious to render direct service to the Lord. One should become a servant of the servant. Gopir bhartur padakamalayur das das. Yesterday, Radhanath Maharaj was also explaining the same point, to be the servant of the servant. Because Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. Guru has given the beej of bhakti. So one should be very grateful to the spiritual master and serve him. And how do we serve him? By serving his servants. Prabhupada says, the more you go down, das dasanu das. Like Mukunda Mala Stotra Kulashekar Maharaj says, Tavad Bhritya 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 7 times to be the servant of the servant. In this way, we can attain the mercy of the Lord. To be the servant of the servant, and in this mood, take shelter of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Little louder. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Please bless me that whatever I have spoken, I can follow. Please bless me. I'm begging. Very easy to speak, but we have to pray to Lord. Please let me follow Prahlada Maharaj. Make my life perfect. Nityanand Prabhu, you'd like to say just 5 minutes something about Narsimhadev. Please, 5-10 minutes. Any questions or comments? I think Lord Narsimhadev wants us to have kirtan. It will be kirtan and japa. You can do kirtan, japa, or whatever, except prasad. Actually, we see that Lord Krishna is making us, for Lord Krishna, Janmashtami we have to fast till midnight. So Narsimhadev is comparatively merciful, only till evening. And Lord Ramchandra and Lord Chaitanya, Lord Ramchandra is even more merciful, only till 12 o'clock. Radharani. So, but either way, sir. Mancha kalpatarubhasya kripasya patitanam Shri Narsimhadev Bhagavan ki jai, Shri Prahlada Maharaj ki jai, Gaur Nitai Radha Gopinath Shri Gopal ji ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev ki jai, Jai Shri Prabhupada.